Okay, so it's time to get on with this build. In this first stage I'm going to look at the cockpit. As you can see, the parts sitting there, the main parts. I'm going to look at putting the cockpit together and painting all the parts and the final assembly and weathering of the cockpit. That's all to come in this video. So as you can see, this is the main cockpit floor, the pilot's seat, the centre bulkhead and the rear bulkhead have all been fitted along with the pedals. I don't fit all the parts just to make it handier to paint. The cockpit is assembled in a complete tub. There's two sidewalls. Now, the sidewalls suffer from a lot of injector pin marks, as you can maybe see. Impossible to sand in between those, so what I done was just put a small blob of plastic cement in there just to fill up the hole. It should look okay under paint. The rest of the parts, main dashboard. It's a handy tip here is to leave parts on the sprue, at least one attachment point, makes it easier to paint. So the dashboard, the painted separate along with the gun ring and the gunner's seat, which I have assembled. There's two flight sticks, one for the front, one for the rear. Both again left on the sprues, just on the bottom. Part of the navigator's dash fits on one of the sidewalls. And one very important bit, one of the bulkheads is supplied as a clear part. That's because there's two windows in it. You can see where I've masked off the blue areas. Important to remember to mask these off on both sides, and the rest of the panel then gets painted. I've also assembled the engine. I'm going to be base coating all this stuff with matte black, so I've assembled the engine and it'll get a base coat at the same time. So that's the engine completely made up. I'll pick out all the different coloured parts after the base coat on. So I'm off to the paint shop now, start laying on some paint. I'll be back soon. Okay, just out of the paint shop, and that's the first round of paint with the black on. As you can see, everything's just got a nice even coat, matte black. And the reason I do this is just to create a natural shadow. It also fills in any nooks and crannies, little bits that you maybe miss out with the next coat. Everything's come out nice and smooth. This was all sprayed with Humbrol matte black. Everything's done. Instrument panel, including the little panel with the two cutouts in it. And also have the engine. The engine, nice matte black again. And again, the details will be picked out in this later on. Once the different colours and the washes go on, should look nice. So that's the first round of paint. From the next round I'll be using, it's a Humbrol interior green 226. Apparently on these aircraft the interiors can be anything from zinc chromate right through to khaki drab. I'm going middle of the road with an interior green, which will be highlighted a bit with a bit of white. So back to the spray booth again. See you soon. Okay, so in this session I've done two sittings with the airbrush. I've applied the interior green and I kept this out of the dark spots, trying to create a shadow. I don't know if it's visible in the video, but I put the green on and then I highlighted with the green again mixed with a drop of white. Now, that was only done from the top down, just again to create a bit of light and depth. That was done on all the panels. I don't know how well it shows up. It just basically lightens up the edges, lightens up the panels a bit. And when I start putting washes on, it's going to go slightly darker. So, as I say, all the parts were done. There's the little gun ring. And again, all the panels. Both sides. And of course the dash panel. So what I have to do now is give all of this a coat of clear, let that dry, and then I can start on the detail painting and the weathering and putting the decals on, and that's coming up next. So before moving on, like I said in the last stage there, I was going to put a coat of clear on. That was just to seal up all the paintwork for the next wash and detail painting. That's been done. I've also moved on and done the dark wash on all the panels. Dark wash I've done using AK's Winter Streaking Grime. Some of these products have other uses than what they're designated for. I find thinning them out with a bit of thinners, AK's thinners, they're very handy as washes. The streaking grime makes a nice dark greyish brown wash. This was applied all over the panels. As you can see, it's worked quite well. It just gives a bit of depth, a bit of shadow in there. The detail painting, all done with the Vallejo paints, the acrylics. I like to use those for the detail painting. Just picked out some different bits and pieces in there. Controls, control knobs. That's actually a leather pouch on the wall, probably from maps or something, maybe. Don't know. But that's all been done. The main cockpit, the floor, seat, given the same wash. Again, it just adds a bit of depth to the paint. Some of you will notice that there's no belts or harnesses on the seat. This is purely because I'm doing out of the box build. This is to show you what can be built from the box. There is updates available. You can buy different AM sets for it. So that's the main components. They're done. The dashboard, moved on with the dashboard, or the instrument panel. There's decals for this. The decals are very good. I have to say they were very thin, but they went on very, very well. I like to use a microsaw for setting the decals in. I only use the saw part of it, don't use the set. The decals reacted really well to it, settled down nicely into the detail. You have a couple of options here. The detail is moulded on to the panels, and you can sand that down if you want, but I found that the decals set right in position in the proper places and went down nice and tight. One more little panel, that's the navigator's panel. Again, decals went on, no problem. And then there's this little bulkhead. This goes in the rear cockpit, and that little dash panel that I showed you, that'll be seen through there. And that came out nice too. The masking went up well. So now it's time to get the cockpit all assembled. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll be back in a few minutes. So that's the main cockpit now assembled. I've left one side wall off there just so we can have a look inside. Oops. Everything went together incredibly well. There was no problems with fit issues or anything. And as I say, even the decals went down nicely. So nothing left to do in there now. I just have to put that other sidewall on, and then we're ready to fit that into the main airframe. And in the next section I'll be looking at the main airframe and the wings going together, and probably looking at the new etch dive brakes and flaps. So I hope you'll join me for the next one. Thanks for looking at it.